Let's go ahead and get into this. The first tiebreaker matchup, G1 up against German Amigos. We've got a crazy one ahead of us.
We almost had history made earlier when Carmine Corp was so close, tantalizingly so, to winning all 3 events in the same split. But now a different sort of history is about to be made. Europe's first ever tiebreaker includes 3 teams, and these 2 will be doing battle to face Quadrant. Turtle, I believe you were saying, sorry, who was it you predicted to win this one?
I'm going G1. I'm backing G1 the whole time.
Backing G1. Okay, they did enough earlier on in their match. This is just they can take German Amigos. German Amigos are a team that are solid. They have the solidity. That's why Shogun, I believe, on the desk earlier said that he predicted them to make it.
Right.
But G1, they've got that explosive power, and they have Atomic. Look at the pace of him, already getting a great shot on target.
And for me, the highlight of G1 has been Dorito. I think he's the player that, if their playstyle is a little bit stagnant, they're not making as many or creating as many opportunities downfield, Dorito usually takes charge and changes things up. He'll go for demos. He'll take your boost. He's that aggressor that extends rotations forward. And Atomic originally comes in. He's the star player, and he's the one who's actually making a difference with the first goal.
Atomic has got no interest in the German Amigos 50-50 game. We're 35 seconds into this one, and twice he's had the opportunity to slow the ball down and take a touch. And instead he just boomed it. Get it on target, make German Amigos think, have them camped on the goal line. It seems to be working for them.
I really want to find out what the preparation was like for German Amigos coming in. Ivan, that was a ridiculous look at the net. Almost an immediate response, but well saved and kept out by G1.
Yeah, Atomic, G1 star performer statistically, and already in this game you can see why. Those 2 shots, one of which resulted in a goal, and a massive save there to keep G1 up in the lead. Well, again, this time, he sends it forward. I do think that because German Amigos are so intent on that 50-50 game, maybe G1 are thinking, do not let them have what they want.
Here we go. Nice little pop-up in the corner. Doritos looking for something in the midfield, but opts not to go for that midfield boost. Rotating back, a passive game plan from G1. Seems like they scored first, and now they're just trying to build up their defense brick by brick, off the backboard. A double commit leaves a nice opening for Marked by 8, and he's got space. Let's see what he does with it.
He gets it around the corner almost. Ivan comes in, and Ivan gets the block, and now Tox completes the clearance. Good play from Tox. Atomic back, Catalysm shoots. Atomic and Dorito both just prod it away towards Marked by 8. It's a fast-paced game 1. Getting no signs of nerves from any of these players, and certainly they seem warm as well. So whatever German Amigos were doing in their scrim seems to have been standing them in good stead. Right now in this one, as Capitalism doinks it over the top, Dorito has to get this read and doesn't. Ivan is waiting to see what Tox does, and Marked by 8 grateful to clear.
And Atomic was forced to also dodge the demo, and that's why he's not getting the best touch, avoiding the bump, trying to keep his team alive and in the lead. And they do manage to recover, but there's still more space. Great read by Marked by 8, and that is going to alleviate all the pressure.
And Dorito goes for the second flip reset, but can't quite get it. I'm loving what I'm seeing from G1, though. No signs of them feeling sorry for themselves. Wishing that they didn't have to be here, because they do not want to be here. That's the difference between them and German Amigos, and indeed Quadrant later. G1 came into today desperate to avoid exactly this, what we're seeing now. Now it's here, they just have to face it down. You know, there's no point moaning about it.
And this is just step 1, Cole. I mean, if you take the dub here, there's still a whole nother best of 7 that you have to battle through. But it's all going to be worth it, performing amongst the best of the best in San Diego. Certainly a prize fit for whoever decides to take away this dub. Atomic on the sidewall, trying to squeeze it into the middle. Marked by 8. A slower approach still. I don't think I've seen as much aggressive from G1, and I think it's just because they're trying to cruise out with this 1-goal lead.
Of course, we should mention these are former teammates as well. Tox and Atomic, once playing for Luminosity. A third Luminosity player is waiting in the wings as well in Ixo, so that roster didn't quite work together. Have all come together eventually to make it here, but it's someone that's not part of that little trio. It's their own trio, Dorito, and he doubles the lead.
And this is the best goal for G1. You don't have to take any risk. You can shoot it directly from your own side. The rotations broke down for Amigos. Like I said, no risk involved, no overextension needed. 2-goal lead, security given to G1.
And maybe that is the sign of the pressure, Turtle, because If you think of a team that's not going to throw away an open goal, as I speak, and Tox can't quite get it on target when he could, but it was saved by Dorito once again for G1, the player that scores, then makes a stunning save. Yeah, the fact that German Amigos are overextending shows a few nerves, but they make it back, and they get back into this game.
Yep, good response, too. They've got 1 minute and 9 seconds marked by 8. A little bit late on the challenge, and Tox is given a free right side of the net. At first, they missed that open opportunity that just happened about 10 or 15 seconds ago, but quick redemption. And now there's plenty of time. I mean, you've obviously got to move downfield quickly with 1 minute and 6, but still just enough to tie things up.
Which German Amigos player is going to be the one to come into form at the right time? Not always the most expansive team, but they certainly have their ways of making it forward towards the goal. Marked by 8 is called into question on the G1 goal line. Flings it forward as far as he can, and Catalysm's touch isn't ideal. So Atomic's hit is towards Dorito. Tox is up, still 40 seconds. As you say, Turs, and all the time in the world to play with for German Amigos. Are they incisive enough when they have to force a goal?
I don't think they were decisive, honestly, on that previous play. Catalysm with the third man back, there was a bump opportunity too. The ball whizzed across the goal line, and Catalysm hesitant to push forward, not getting as aggressive as you'd want to see that third man in the final minute. Things have to change as we come down to the final 20. Tox, open space, pass out to Ivan, back to the middle, top of the box, shot, crossbarring out. Nobody there to follow it up, and G1 escape with murder.
Huge pass, but German Amigos are going to keep on coming. First, they have to get this ball, though. Catalysm speed flipping his way there. Slight nerves for him. Tox, one last chance. Following this one, Atomic's going to get there first, but who's going to be on the other end of it? It's Catalysm, but he's not met Tox. Ivan keeps it up. Dorito can't quite kill it yet. Ivan still keeps the ball alive. Marked by 8 closes it down this time. Desperate to get this ball to the floor, still unable to do it. The 50-50 game for German Amigos, so strong, but G1's drop shot skills eventually see them through into taking the first of the 4 games they need.
But without a late resurgence from German Amigos, we wouldn't have as much confidence, or we would have more confidence, in G1. German Amigos came alive the final minute, a couple of good opportunities, even that passing play where it trickled out in the top of the box. As we take a look at the replays, we'll see how German Amigos got warmed up, started to heat up during the late part of Game 1. And I expect Game 2 to be much better. Getting Game 1 jitters out the way, the emotion's gone now. They haven't played today under this level of pressure, and now they've got it under their belt. They can move forward, Cole.
Yeah, I mean, you say they're starting slowly, but if I were to tell you that one team had 6 shots and the other team had 12 shots, you'd probably assume it was G1 that had the 12. But German Amigos, despite really never looking like they were going to knock the door down for G1, they had 12 shots, so something was working for them.
Well, G1 got that first goal and then decided to play much more passively, rotate back as quickly as possible, didn't want to take any risks. And I still think back to that clear goal that was just given to them. That was such an important security for G1. And if you're German Amigos, you can't be making that level of mistake, that detrimental mistake, whenever everything is on the line.
We head to Game 2, and with each passing second, the nerves will be increasing for all of these players. G1 will be the happiest so far, as Dorito sends that one, but only as far as Catalysm. A lead for German Amigos could be massive for their mentality, but Dorito, yet again, not letting that happen. German Amigos' pressure continues, though. Catalysm may be a little bit far back there, because, wow, a wonder pinch falls between Tox and Dorito, but Tox is up there fast again. So German Amigos are definitely up the pace here, but now G1 are struggling to deal with it.
Yeah, and they're holding the midfield down, but Atomic is quick to deny any midfield presence after the first minute, marked by 8. Attempting to start their first string of passes on the offensive side. Of course, things slowed down a bit at the beginning, but starting to heat up for G1 off the backboard, but nobody's there. And Atomic could have punished on the whiff from the goalkeeper, but it's still in the air. And now passing between each other, G1 take the first.
That was the finish of a man with confidence as well, especially after completely missing his lines when the first shot came about. The ball finds its way back to him from Dorito, and Atomic just completely bypasses the despairing dive of the German Amigos defender. And for the second game in a row, Turtle, it's G1 that take the lead.
It's just those simple defensive mistakes. There is a whiff from the goalkeeper, and while it wasn't punished right away, G1 are so good with their rotations, knowing when to stay in the midfield and when to press forward. They saw that mistake come out from German Amigos, and they stayed aggressive. and got the redemption even after missing the first punishing opportunity. Now, in their own half, they've got extra space to deal with, and Ivan getting some demos, looking to open up a lane.
Tox sends this one out wide. Dorito follows it up. German Amigos trying to make their first major since winter last year, when they still had Rizex in place of Tox, and they were represented by evil geniuses. So it's been a while for all of these players. Marked by 8, he wouldn't have been to one since fall either, because he was benched for such a long time by Team BDS, pretty much the rest of that season.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, winter. But they didn't do too much there with Marked by 8. That was the last time he was playing with Team BDS. So lots of history trying to rewrite itself for these players. Lots of people who've pretty much given up on them ever making it, and they're trying to prove to themselves that was incorrect. As Ivan takes the shot, Ivan sinks it in the bottom right.
Ivan, I mean, he's just carrying along with the speed of this pass. Catalysm from the sidewall clangs it across, and whenever that speed is given on a pass, it's so much easier to hit the shot because you just have to redirect it. You just have to aim it. You don't have to worry about generating any more power. And Tox snipes it to the bottom right. Maybe a second one off the kickoff, but saved dramatically. Dorito, last second heroics, and they're still under pressure.
Dorito has made so many massive saves. That's just another one to add to the pile. But each subsequent one is more important. Ivan's up again, though, to the backboard. Tox is waiting, Tox is wanting, but Atomic is booming it away. And now Marked by 8 can do his thing. He's causing some chaos. Trying to get among the German Amigos to not a race like that, though, from Ivan. Another great shot. Tox to the backboard. Dorito, the hero, once more for G1. It's getting nervy for them, though. German Amigos are starting to put on their squeeze.
Ivan's got that brand new scope on the top of his car. Somehow hitting the craziest shots, the craziest placements. That one still looked pretty, even if it was off the crossbar. Pixels away from going down and in, but it's all tied up. And with 1:44 on the clock, G1, they can't just sit and hide on their own defensive end anymore. They've got to make some new opportunity go their way.
They're going to keep coming now, Ivan. With Atomic in his sights. Marked by 8 puts it into the center. Not the best touch from him. The demo as well. Another save from Dorito, his 4th of the game. And each one has been substantial.
I think he just likes making it entertaining. He's rotating it slowly, and now he's getting the double tap, or maybe Atomic stealing it. Either way, it looks pretty. They're getting the job done, and they're up 2-1.
Dorito there, yeah. I think he got the call from Atomic. I think that was exactly as planned. So desperate to make it to a major. He and Atomic have never done so. They haven't been there on the big stage with the lights bearing down upon them. It's an experience they haven't had yet. And they're so close to making it happen. If G1 do end up winning this series, Dorito will be so proud of his performance, but Tox is coming forward. The man for German Amigos hasn't been to a major. Ivan steaming in, saved again, this time by Atomic. German Amigos can't quite break through yet. Dorito, can he make the save? Not this time. It's Tox that bundles it home.
They finally get past the man who's getting every save imaginable. Tox, this one was just a 50-50. Instead of shooting it and allowing Dorito to pre-jump, he wanted to muscle it through. It looks like he's been hitting the gym and overwhelms Dorito on the goal line.
Suddenly, this series is absolutely alive as Catalysm comes forward. Marked by 8's underneath him. Another bump. Calls into action, Marked by 8. He doesn't have the answer.
This is Tox infiltrating your own defensive end. He was looking for a corner boost, but said, okay, I could just turn around quickly and take out Atomic, punch him out the air. Marked by 8 almost gave his best Dorito impression, but he's just not able to get the save. Oh, and I actually thought we were tied up for a second. This has been a shootout, but we've got German Amigos up by 1.
Yeah, so many goals in this game, 5 of them so far. Still time for one more. There's 45 seconds remaining. It could be for German Amigos. Tox is there, not quite able to get there. Ivan following up. It's up against Marked by 8, who is a bit of an agent of chaos for G1 when they need him.
Oh, look at that passing in the defense.
Great, yeah, you got to admire that. Then Tox over the top as well. That's German Amigos at their best.
Yeah, I think they're finally hitting their stride. Game 1 looked a bit nervous. They were anxious on the goal line. Not too many double commits, but just off their mark. And now things look cool, calm, and under control. Catalysm, you've just got to stall, waste some time, maybe even get another one, but ultimately focus on these challenges because 10 seconds remain from you and getting the second game win.
Doritos underneath this one. Marked by 8 just gets a hopeful touch, lofts it into the center. Where Catalysm should be able to sweep up, but Atomic gets half the touch. It's not going to be enough, though. German Amigos take their second game, and they're here to play.
And it there was not easy, but it was getting brutal and bloody on the pitch. They relied a lot on demos, physicality, rotating in with that aggressor to come back and punch the goalkeeper out the way. I think they noticed that Dorito was getting way too many goal line saves, so they decided to try and delete him from the pitch. But have another look at the precision from Ivan to start us off.
German Amigos, who lost their org at the start of this split, have had to go on pretty much by themselves, kept their coach Verge as well, and they are on the verge of making it, or at least getting, one series away from making it for San Diego. It's impressive to see them still fighting, and it was also a really impressive performance in Game 2 because they're not a team that's known for scoring 3, 4, 5 goals, but they were chucking everything at the goals there.
Yeah, and that's what's needed in this high-pressure situation to bring out your whole arsenal. You can't just rely on what's gotten you this far. You've got to bring more to the field, more to the pitch, and more in Game 3 if you want to take the series lead.
And they're massively out-shooting G1 as well, which you never expect to see, but it's G1 that get the first shot of the third game, and it's a good one. Dorito once more involved, but Catalysm was the savior this time for German Amigos. It tries to keep that momentum going. G1 have started the game very well indeed. Someone's underneath this one, though. He's no booster player, so he heads home. Dorito takes over. German Amigos can deal with it well. Is this now where GA sort of return to their more defensive style, or do they keep on pushing against G1?
I hope not. You have to keep pushing. This has actually been a very different style for German Amigos where they're out shooting G1, and we don't normally see that from them. They like to play that defensive and on the goal line approach, but I don't think that's the right choice. And leading with more physical plays, more aggression is certainly the right call, especially with what you're up against. And that's a very heavy and offensively minded G1.
Atomic's going to take this boost. Catalysm is his only target. Dorito takes Catalysm out. Does Atomic have the double tap? Of course he does. 1-0 G1.
Of course he does. I mean, he's not going to miss this one. Dorito, he understood that the demos were so effective in the last game that denied him some goal line saves, so he gives it a try on the offense, bumps out the defender, and that's the freest double tap Atomic's going to get.
Dorito is absolutely the key right now for G1. His decisions have been pretty flawless so far.
Even on defense.
Yeah.
And
attack and defense is making the goals, making the saves. You watched his teammate put that one away after he opened things up with a demo, but it's German Amigos that have a bit of pressure now until Dorito clears it as far as Ivan. Now Atomic wants to get that one to Mark by 8, who does have the boost to do something with this one. Maybe could have centered that one for Atomic instead of getting it to the backboard. It was another good chance for G1.
Here we go. Through the corner, Dorito making waves on defense. Don't get too much. Oh, typically G1, they like to play defensive. They'll get that first goal and then just kind of sit back. We'll see if that's a play style they want to go for. Dorito fakes out the defender, and then Ivan gets the last second touch needed to keep the ball out and safe.
More good play though from G1, but that's a lovely touch from Tox. Dorito to the side is going to allow in Catalysm. He's got the ceiling reset. Mark's underneath it. He's faked the reset. Actually, Ivan's coming in. Top idea there from German Amigos, showing all their creativity, all their attack. They've clearly decided to throw everything at this one. So it goes to the edgeable bump. Wow. Mark by 8 steams in to save the day. Too much thinking right now. Mark by 8 against Catalysm. He shoots, and it's saved by Ivan.
I was about to say, I think that recognition from Mark by 8 just shows that they're used to what German Amigos are now doing, which is more bumps. Mark by 8 understands that there's going to be demos, more rotations, and he cuts in early to deny any shot. Another demo from Ivan, but Mark by 8 still staying strong behind it, stoic behind this ball. Another one. Catalysm's also looking to take out Atomic, but they're dodging. They're weaving in between them, and almost a disastrous goal in favor of G1.
That could have been absolute heartbreak. If you have all the pressure, one pinch goes against you, and suddenly you're 2 goals down, it can really begin to sting. They survive for now, but the pressure continues. Mark by 8 round the corner. Tops up against Dorito. Threat of a rule 2 there for a second, but both players escape unscathed. Now Mark's underneath top. I did, Turtle. If you got a problem, mate, you noob.
Oh, no. Hey, listen, we can talk about this after the tiebreaker, but I'm going to remember that.
There's Dorito, wants one more touch into the middle, but Tox it's in ahead of him. Tox had a good series as well. He's somebody who, in my opinion, blows hot and cold for German Amigos. When he's playing well, he looks like a lovely, fluent player. Never afraid to play in front of the ball. And maybe that creative spark that German Amigos need is a bit of creativity over the top. Dorito closes it down and gets the double though.
Yeah, this is 100% just German Amigos trying everything they can to break through the defense that hasn't let up one time in this game alone. I think a lot of that is credit to Mark by 8 and his rotations. I've been so impressed with his ability to step in where his teammates are getting bumped and demoed out. So if you can't get demos that connect, if you can't find bumps, what mechanics can you throw at G1?
We'll have to get the ball first, and right now it's G1 that have it. Dorito, lovely first touch, and gets the bump. It's just a bit wide, and he throws it into the middle where Atomic is waiting. Dorito at the heart of everything.
And this is patience as well from Atomic. He would have gone up and double committed, but he backflipped out of the rotation, let Dorito do what he does best and wreak havoc on the goal line, and then follow through with a nice and easy shot. That's more security given to G1.
The man who has never made a major, never been to an RLCS LAN, is stepping up so big for his team in Dorito.
Oh my, 1v1.
Yeah, here we go. He goes for the breeze. He is saved by Ivan, but who's arriving is Dorito. Wants to get the flip reset off the backboard. Almost able to do it. Suddenly, Mark by 8 has to defend a 2v1 and does so admirably. It's all working for G1. Catalysm's turn. Dorito's 50-50 is good, and Mark by 8 can complete the clearance.
G1 are not afraid to take these challenges in the midfield either. Atomic, he was rotating back, had no boost, and instead of going to his corner or going to his goal line, he went straight for the challenge. Zero hesitation on the field. German Amigos, we've got to come up with something. 10 seconds. Do you feel like they have to score here? They will not. And this ball, whether or not it does go in, they just don't have enough time. And G1 are going to take back the lead that they got after the first game.
Also always nice to get a clean sheet as well. You know, it's all well and good winning 2-1, but winning 2-0, there's just something about blocking your opponent off for the entirety of the game that gives you more confidence going into it. And the thing is, German Amigos aren't playing badly at all. They're actually impressing me more, dare I say, as a neutral viewer than they normally do. This expansive style of Rocket League is something I don't normally pull out the hat, but G1 are just dealing with it incredibly well.
Oh, yeah, they've recovered and adapted to this newer German Amigos aggression. I truly think it's just the awareness that I've seen out of all three defenders. I mean, normally, or at the beginning, of that game, I only talked about Mark by 8 and his awareness of, okay, my teammate's going to get bumped, so let me rotate in again and go for the challenge instead. I also saw that out of Atomic, so they're staying alert, staying on top of their toes, and keeping their head on a swivel as to when German Amigos want to get aggressive, and that's really proven to be effective in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the case that G1 with Dorito as well, he is a flair player and he can slow down. I wonder if that starts to happen, because he's been the key in my opinion. If Dorito slows down, will G1 have that plan B to fall down to? Because normally a pop-off like this doesn't last the whole series.
Well, it's kind of like what we saw out of Ivan. I feel like Ivan popped off in the game previous and then he was flat in that game. And you're right, that might just be what happens for G1. If Dorito doesn't show up, who else can take his place on the offensive side? I'm not quite sure, because while we've seen good looks from Atomic and Mark by 8, it's mostly been defensive from them, and all the offense has been started from Dorito.
Also, another lovely story about Dorito is that over in North America, Complexity running really well. They're second to Gen G by 8 points. Not quite made the major yet, but almost nailed onto. Famous last words, perhaps. And they feature CRR, a former teammate of Dorito, and those two stuck together through various roster changes as well. It wasn't until Complexity in North America came calling that CRR finally left Dorito. So if those two meet again in San Diego at the major on different teams, it may well complete their little story.
You love to see everything that's unfolding in preparation for San Diego. All the storylines, all the history that can be made. Of course, we're going to want to witness all of it. But before we get there, we've got to get through this tiebreaker. We've got to see if German Amigos can fight back in game 4.
Mark by 8, that's an awkward touch for him, but he's done pretty well with it, actually. Catalysm, I think for a second, fancied turning that car around, going to the ceiling, but unfortunately ran out of pitch to play with. Ivan has Tox bearing down upon him. It's Tox that leaves it to. Wanted to complete the touch. A few times we've seen from German Amigos where the next hit they want just isn't quite happening.
Yeah. It was just like such an awkward play as well. I'm not sure what the boost meters look like, but Tox and Ivan, it was a 2v1 situation. I think the easiest call is to have somebody go for the demo, and that ball was floating, lobbing towards the net. A great pass from Catalysm, but an even better save from Mark by 8, who then gets bumped, I believe. So much aggression, so much pressure, and German Amigos can finally get one.
Smart finish from Tox. There were Goalkeeper's there for G1, but he managed to pick his spot, stuck to it, believed in his precision. He was pretty accurate with it in the end. So it is German Amigos that take the lead. It's rare in this series that German Amigos do take the lead, or score the first goal, should I say. So I'll be happy with that. But I won't be so happy with Atomic going to the ceiling, almost getting the next touch. Marked by 8, just wants to punch this one in. It falls to Dorito, not quite in this time, and Atomic had rotated out.
Marked by 8 made that difficult, looking for a demo, attacking the goal line. We questioned who would step up if Dorito doesn't come out with a stellar performance. Marked by 8 is taking initiative, but hasn't been able to yield a goal quite yet. This might be it, though, with a good 50-50. And we'll see if this breaks into some pressure.
Ouch. Tox just getting poleaxed there. Yeah, smacked about by Dorito. Dorito now has the ball as well to put.
Oh, they're going for pumps.
Sights again. Yeah, they're really going for this one. Not letting German Amigos settle. It's their new way of playing. Marked by 8, almost in the way. Ivan was in the way, and Ivan wanted to be.
It looks very safe from G1. Every time they have any look at the net, they want to go with what is most statistically probable and what's going to help them get that goal. And usually it's the bump that can guarantee you find it. But right now it's too predictable. German Amigos know when they decide to rotate in. They're able to dodge some demos, and the defense has stayed alive.
That's much better, though. The near pass, the transition out of goal is good for G1. And they'll be able to move this ball forward. Marked by 8 is going to keep it going. Who's he got in the center waiting for him? I mean, this is where German Amigos are so frustrating to play against. They have reverted to their season plan A right now, and they're squeezing the life out of G1.
But if there's a time to revert to that style, it's when you're in the lead.
Oh, yeah, totally fair.
I mean, they decided to get aggressive, switch it up, and then boom, get the first goal. All right, now we can just stay on our own side, go for some small little dribbles. I mean, this ball hasn't even gone, 10 feet above the ground in quite some time, just keeping it low.
Catalysm's met by Dorito. Ivan went as far as marked by 8, and Tox is just waiting for that one. So can Tox and will Tox want to do anything more with this one?
Bumped.
But just take some time. The 50-50 works out for German Amigos. The finish doesn't. Tox has one more chance, maybe. And Tox sinks it. His second decent finish of the game.
They got 3 attempts. 1 there for Ivan, 2 for Catalysm, and 3rd time's the charm for Tox. So much pressure, relentless amount of shots. And the second goal, German Amigos, they look on fire.
Rotational Rocket League in its purest form there from German Amigos. And now 1 goal was tough to score against them in 4 minutes. Now they've got to score 2 in 1 minute and 12 seconds. So it's not looking easy for G1. Certainly no easier than it was. Catalysm could make it 3, not quite. Marked by 8 gets the block, all he can do. Catalysm's still coming. I mean, German Amigos, they don't need to chuck 3 players forwards because one of them apparently will do as much work. But out of nowhere, there's a mark by 8.
It didn't even look like they overextended too much. We had some player back. It was Tox, who's almost lurking too far back. Nobody wanted to challenge the midfield. Tox getting scared, cold feet, decides to run all the way back, but he can't catch it in time with a blistering shot like that.
You live and die by the sword, Turtle. German Amigos, if they're going to play this defensive style of Rocket League that they've reverted to, every now and then you do give up a little bit too much space, and G1 can really try and press upon that wound. Marked by 8 is to close down Tox as fast as humanly possible. He does. I got the boost to go around, tries to chain dash his way to the ball, gets but Atomic's touch isn't perfect. Now German Amigos can counter. Marked by 8's in trouble here, but Marked by 8 spoons it high.
Tox was looking for a bump play. 2 players for German Amigos. Actively rotating back. Tox, the last man. He's going to get some redemption. Previously, he couldn't find the save, but this time he was even deeper in rotation, playing an extra save.
20 seconds left. Atomic is found by Mark. Doritos in front of the ball again.
Oh, what a demo
again. But Ivan will be able to get there. Now it's Marked by 8's turn. He sends it high. I don't think Dorito wanted the pass there. It was a little bit too floaty. And that may well see it away when you can see that.
There it is.
I was going to say how good GA are at defending, but if they score a 3rd, doubly so.
Yeah, it's over now. Ivan, good interception. Atomic, he was going for some kind of teammate passing play, looking for a clear, maybe with Marked by 8 in that rotation, but 4 seconds left. 3-1. German Amigos, they've evened the scoreline.
And we see why German Amigos in this game pick up so many wins, because when they do take the lead, one of the hardest teams in Europe and maybe the world to score against. They just frustrate people.
It's like, I'm sure everybody watching this has played that ranked game where, you might be playing with some buddies. Cole, I don't think we've ever played ranked together, actually.
I'm too high rated for you, man.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks so much. But you're playing ranked. You're up against a team where you feel like you should be winning. You have like 800 shots, and you're not scoring. That's what it feels like right now for G1, and that's why they're calling a timeout. You've got to cool off German Amigos and figure out what it's going to take to get one of those 800 shots to go in.
Their best look was when they made near passes to themselves. They used the space that German Amigos allowed them. So they had a couple of opportunities from doing that. One was a huge transition where instead of booming the ball back where German Amigos were in their own half, they just sort of lifted it high and then they could get a better second touch. And then the goal itself where Mark by 8 steamed in when, who was it, Atomic made the touch in the center. And again, utilizing that space. So this way of playing from German Amigos does have its drawbacks.
Yeah.
It's whether G1 in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, are able to make the most of that.
So does that mean that it's just going to come down to counterattacks for G1? Like if there's more space in the midfield, it's so dependent on the third man for German Amigos. Like I feel like the difference in this German Amigos right now versus what we've seen all split long is that third man is getting a little bit more risky, a little bit more aggressive. And we did see that actually hurt them and plague them with that one counterattack goal. But besides that, they've actually been able to keep pressure more often and not have to play so much defense because of it.
I'll tell you what, German Amigos would love it if G1 decided to just chuck everything at them in this game.
Yeah.
That is where German Amigos thrive. They live and breathe of making opponents overcommit and scoring 3 goals because of it. So I don't think G1 should fall into that trap because that certainly would be decisive against them. I think for G1, it's just about holding their nerve. You know, the advantage, whether or not it's an advantage or disadvantage of playing earlier on and being a little bit warmer, that's long gone now. You know, we're now in the business end of this series. They have to take this as it is, stick to their game, and they've definitely got a chance.
I mean, these guys are professionals at this point. Maybe the first game, you were dealing with some emotions, some nerves at the beginning for both sides. I'm sure G1, they took a tough loss against Liquid, and they controlled their fate earlier on. They made it harder for themselves, but they're not out of the running yet. Neither is German Amigos. All tied up in this series, 2 apiece. Game 5. Ivan looking to start things out strong, but it's Tox with the follow-up.
Lovely play from Ivan. Look at the creativity here. He just fakes out the second touch, and Tox is the grateful recipient. I love an aerial fake.
Yep, and that's got to be communicated flawlessly. It has to come in directly before you go for the fake. Your teammate behind you has to know you're missing the ball because you can also fake out your own teammate if it's not communicated correctly. Well done, well executed. German Amigos certainly earned goal 1.
And after a timeout as well, the last thing you want to do is concede in 5 seconds and lose all that magic of the tactical timeout that normally it brings. Anyway, all they can do is plow on. Dorito tries to weave some of his own magic. He seems to be slowing down, which we predicted. It's into the center, but Mark by 8 isn't going to be the recipient because Ivan steams in first. Coming up against Catalysm, they have to get something going, G1. They're now starting to look a little bit flat-footed against PA.
And that was actually after the timeout, too. So you take an extra 60 seconds to collect yourself, collect the nerves, but immediately get slapped in the face for taking a timeout. G1, the break didn't look like it helped them too much, but of course there's so much extra time in this game, 4 minutes to get into it.
There's never a good time to get slapped in the face, but after 1 minute...
Or pied in the face. You can ask no...
Or pied in the face, that's true. But after spending an extra minute deciding and trying to figure out how not to get slapped or pied in the face, it just hurts that much more. But G1, they've set their game up after going behind, looking a little bit faster, looking a little bit better, and Atomic gets them back.
And look at this pass from Mark by 8. This man just used a slingshot to get this ball all the way off the ceiling, and it's almost unpredictable. You can't read that. Normally, you think it's going to hit the top corner and roll down, but it hit the ceiling, then the backboard. Nobody from German Amigos is prepared for it, and quick to respond is G1.
All 3 players involved for German Amigos as well. So, precise passing all the way up the pitch. If that backfires, you're going to go 2-0 down. So they've held their nerve and it's worked. Themselves back in this game. I do still fear they'll overcommit and German Amigos will punish them, but Mark by 8 could give them the lead here. Above the goal, it goes, Atomic. How's the 50-50 with Tox? Dorito now up against Catalysm, and Dorito gets the extra touch. I can open things up just a little bit. Atomic prods it forward again. Mark by 8 has turned, that's what he does. He fakes it out. Another fake, it falls to Dorito. I don't think Dorito quite believed he had a chance to shoot cleanly there.
Yeah, and I'm on Mark's cam. I don't know if that was intended to be a fake. We've seen a few mechanical errors from him. He just got a good look at the net. I'm not seeing the best performance from Mark, but he could change that. with his flip reset, or maybe a fake.
Ooh.
He faked the flip reset. The defender thought he was going to go for it, but Mark by 8 just actually hit the gas and drove straight behind the ball.
Hello, Mark by 8. It doesn't have to be too fancy. As long as you get that extra touch, then you'd have every chance of making it over the defense. And, you know, I said maybe the tactical timeout magic dust was starting to fade away. No, nuh-uh. It is here in full swing. 2-1 G1.
Mark by 8 has been so aggressive, too. On top of what I said was a couple of mechanical mistakes, he hasn't stopped rotating so aggressively. And the opportunities keep coming his way. So maybe that's a active change that they're looking to implement after the timeout. Throw Mark by 8 downfield and let Dorito take that passive approach because, of course, nobody's going to get through that man if he's on the goal line.
And he made a name for himself with Team BDS as just being one of the hardest players to read in the game, Mark by 8. I don't think half the time Monkey Moon Extra knew what he was going to do. I don't think he knew what he was going to do. But it sure worked for a very long time, and maybe G1, this is the new era of Mark by 8's own brand of chaos.
I missed Mark by 8 Batmobile era. That was a while ago. Those were fun days.
That was a wild time, man. Anyone in the Batmobile, I missed that.
Oh, demos 2 in favor of Dorito, but look at the solo effort. Ivan, his whole team is gone, and he just air dribbles it out himself.
I'll play it, Ivan. Well, enough time for German Amigos to stay alive, at least for now, but they do need to do more than survive. They have to score. Maybe the time is now. Ivan from the ceiling is falling down. Mark by 8 shows good pace. In the air, not quite accurate enough to go to a teammate, and Atomic takes a couple of touches past 2 of them actually. Catalysm the last man. Mark by 8 is found. Catalysm is almost faked, and then Mark by 8 gets one of his famous wasteland air pinches to get the ball to the other side of the pitch.
I mean, he's just trying to be as unpredictable as possible. With him getting more aggressive, let's see what he does now. So many opportunities are going his way. He's taking the slower approach behind Tox, forcing an awkward 50-50. Ivan is alone, but now it's a 2v1 if Ivan can land properly, but Atomic jumped early to avoid the demo and get the save.
Catalysm was in a decent position, but he had no boost. So his challenge just sent the ball all the way back to his own half. Ivan's certainly looking the most likely for German Amigos right now. He is the name that we're saying the most for sure when it comes to dangerous GA moments, but this one's Catalysm.
Ivan
tries to get the most of a bump from Catalysm. Again, unable to do so. 45 left. G1 in the lead.
Mark by 8 again is the first man taking boost, making sure that German Amigos are as uncomfortable as possible. And he's getting demos on Ivan. This man cannot be stopped.
So much. He's doing so much. Crazy from Mark by 8. Yet another touch. I don't know how many points he's getting. You know, I don't know how much of what he's doing is being tracked by the game because it's weird things. It's bumps, it's demos, it's hits that appear pointless statistically, and yet we know in the sense of the shape of this game that it is making an impact. But there's still 10 seconds left. Ivan, he goes to the ceiling, gets the ceiling reset. Atomic just booms it as far as he can. Tox is there, up against Dorito. Atomic waiting underneath, burning a few more seconds. Catalysm, he fakes it. It worked earlier. Can it work again? Tox to the backboard, no. G1 not falling for that one twice. Ivan winds up one more attempt. The 50-50 against Atomic is good, but Dorito kills it. Turtle no longer believes. And G1 go within one game of a grand finals, if we can call it that, with Quadrant.
A tiebreaker grand finals.
Yeah.
Oh my, what a fantastic showing too from G1. And we kept bringing up Mark by 8 and his ability to make some damage and put German Amigos in such tight and awkward spots, but we do get a timeout in favor of German Amigos. This is their opportunity to come back to the drawing board, restructure, reframe their mindset, and they're gonna have to because this is match point. But if this series keeps going in the same pattern, the same way it has, you're gonna see German Amigos take another game back because it's been left, right the entire time, Cole.
Yeah, neither team has ever really pulled away, and you know, we've seen how each playstyle has its advantages, has its disadvantages. Certainly for G1, when they are on top, they're more than happy to keep on pushing and try and get that second goal. German Amigos are an intelligent team. They will have realized that Mark by 8 was causing chaos, and they will be keeping an eye out on that in these next couple of games. That, I think, is what they'll be saying, that just playing at such an extreme level of unpredictability can backfire just as much as it can work for you.
It's got to be so annoying. I mean, you need to get like some pest control, some type of spray to get him away. I mean, he does not leave the rotation, I'm telling you. Yeah, the Mark by 8 spray to get him out of your own half. I'm sure they'd pay, a valuable amount of money for that because it is so frustrating to deal with Mark by 8 and what he's doing. But the great thing about G1 is their arsenal of offense. You know, if Mark by 8 is getting predicted as to be the guy who's getting aggressive and throwing himself forward, maybe he pulls back and lets Dorito move forward. But German Amigos also can switch things up. We know that they started this series out a little bit more aggressive. They've been pulling themselves back into their old play style, but I think avoiding that is the best and ideal situation.
This could be a good time to remind everybody watching on at home that the winner of this does not immediately make the San Diego Major. You need to then go through Quadrant, who are waiting in the wings and have been a pretty decent force this split. A team that are constantly written off, constantly there. They're already in the final of this mini tiebreaker because across the season, they've made more points than both these teams. So 2 series wins are needed in a row. But first, you got to win this one. All eyes on Neo Tokyo. It's 3-2 to G1, and it's already been a long old day for them, Turtle.
It's been quite the long day for G1, but German Amigos are just getting started, and they're hoping it's not going to be over quickly, but Dorito, he's looking to make quick work of German Amigos.
In the last game, it was German Amigos who took the lead straight from kickoff. They ended up losing it, but this time it's G1, 5 seconds in, and Dorito finds himself once again on the score sheet. In my opinion, the MVP so far this series for G1. German Amigos, how good are you when you're chasing?
Remember, G1, they took the timeout, then immediately got scored on. All right, so, you know, it's the first 5 seconds. Don't hit the alarm button yet. You are on match point, but there's plenty of time. Oh my gosh, what just happened? Every single car on the pitch, it looked like just whipping that ball.
I think that's the Mark by 8 effect.
Yeah.
People forgot the Mark by 8 spray, and he is just all over that ball. Teammates, opponents, they're all like, get off, I want the ball. Here
Look at him, he's trying to get you out of it.
But it does backfire sometimes, and suddenly Ivan has clean control of the ball. But guess who's back, Turtle? It's Mark by 8.
Dude, I feel like every time we talk, this man is just behind the ball chasing. A good 50-50 from a topic. Mark by 8. Slower approach. And through the backboard and into the midfield, this ball looking to get a little bit of pressure applied in favor of German Amigos, but at this point, G1, what's the game plan? You got that first initial goal. You don't have to be too risky. You can take boost and hope to get another free mistake.
Well, I think the game plan is to let Mark by 8 do his thing still. He definitely hasn't shown any signs of slowing down.
Nice touch.
His decision-making is great.
Wow.
He puts that one on a plate for Atomic, and German Amigos, deep defending, punishes them again.
And the key word that you just said, Cole, decision-making. Mark by 8 had so many options. He could have gone for an initial shot, could have looked to go off the backboard where nobody was really positioned, but instead, the easiest and the most efficient one is to just simply drop it down and let your teammates smack the ball into the back of the net.
And now we have 3.5 minutes for G1 to hold their nerve, but German Amigos are helping them. Dorito on the score sheet again.
Second goal for Dorito. Might be the easiest one he gets. Catalysm, milliseconds off in that rotation with the timing to get a touch. That has got to be a painful third goal to concede. German Amigos, they just took the timeout. They were the team to react, to adapt, change things up, but they're under so much pressure. Maybe the demos can alleviate it.
I mean, after that third goal went in, I was keeping a close eye on G1's player cams as this split reset goes towards the top corner, just to see if any of them were starting to twitch and starting to celebrate a bit too early.
Oh no, what is going on?
But their defending is not. Just a lump of a hit forward comes them undone.
Oh man, might be getting too overconfident. This is double commit. Atomic and Mark by 8 both throwing themselves at the ball. Then Mark by 8 is rotating back quickly. It was a good fake, but you can see the panic induced on G1.
Yeah, panic. It will be panic times now. This is really where the nerves will start to build up for G1. German Amigos, you know, the fact they've gone 3 goals down sort of allows them to play as if they've got nothing to lose. So something of a slight advantage there. Maybe that's just some copium from me to hope German Amigos do as well as they can. They're going to have to keep on going. They've done 1/3 of the job so far, getting back into this game. There's a pass on for Tox, another one for Catalysm. Almost there, Dorito closed down. Catalysm still shoots. Atomic got back. He read that Mark by 8 was beaten and makes a massive save.
Yeah, he just bailed out Mark by 8. He would not have gotten a touch. There's more demos, there's more bumps. Ivan getting physical in the corner, and that was huge. That defensive stance from them, as it's not over yet. Mark by 8.
Oh my goodness.
Escapes, creates a pinball effect and gets this ball out.
G1's so desperate to keep this ball out their net. All of them camped on their own goal since going 3-1 up, if you see what I mean, when German Amigos scored their first. They're in full defense mode now, full desperation. Dorito sends it forward, Catalysm sends it back. Mark Baye's waiting on the backboard, hoping, I'm sure, that he won't need to hit this ball. Dorito going for another bump.
Here we go.
Ivan puts it in the center, but it's cleared again. Every clearance one step further to that date with Quadrant.
But those touches from Dorito into the corner, keeping as much control as possible, is going to be clinical towards running the clock down. At this point, G1, they don't need to get aggressive. They don't need to take risks. They've got the security. And Atomic, he just needs to waste time setting up Mark by 8. Who's going to rotate back, doesn't have too much boost, takes the midfield one. And this ball, they're trying to throw it and keep it in the half of German Amigos.
Yeah, but what they've done, G1, is waste at least a minute, or survived, should I say, for a minute. German Amigos keep on coming. Oh, Catalysm is so desperate to get that ball, but Mark by 8's on the way. I don't know what happened. Who was in whose way?
I think everybody's just tripping over the rotations. You see that there's an opportunity, and German Amigos, all of them want to dive on it and try to score. They're desperate. They need something. This is San Diego. Their lives in this split on the line.
German Amigos, they can see their split fading away from them. They have to get this ball forward. Here's Catalysm. Mark by 8's almost bypassed. In the center it goes. Another massive touch from Atomic. Mark by 8 waits. He slows it down. Such an experienced player. He's done pretty much everything in Rocket League except winning a world championship. Here he is again, booming it long, happy to do so. Catalysm, he launches another attack. 2 goals needed for German Amigos.
Here we go. This could start it, though. They have to score on the next drive that goes towards the opposition's half. Tox needed a better 50-50. Dorito wasting more time. Everybody push forward. Dorito, the man we started talking about in the beginning of the series, he's now the one to potentially end it and put the final dagger in.
And how apt. The G1's finest player on the day gets himself a hat trick in what is looking to be their romp to the finish line. They've been dominant over here on Neo Tokyo. German Amigos, they'll still keep fighting, they'll keep going, but it's not looking likely at all. Dorito challenges Catalysm. They can't even win a 50-50 anymore, German Amigos. G1 are going to be in a match with Quadrant to make San Diego one best of 7 to achieve these players' dreams.
It's not over yet, but my word, is this a great start in this tiebreaker tournament. GG's dropped in the chat. The ball hits the ground. G1 on your screen.